Guys, we've all done it, right? You decide you want to build a hot rod. And you, for some reason, think you're going to actually stick to a budget. So you sit down and you start working all that out, right? Thinking about everything you're going to spend, thinking about where you can save money, all that kind of stuff, right? There's one thing that everybody overlooks, and that's what we're going to talk about on this week's Tuesday Morning Tech Tip from Pugliese Speed Shop. What do you guys think it is? Could be a number of things, right? I mean, you're thinking about, I want to get the best deal on whatever car, truck, motorcycle, whatever the project might be. I want to get the best deal to buy this thing. Well, that makes sense, but the cheapest ain't the best. You guys, something getting after a little bit. Like I was saying, the cheapest ain't the best. I mean, sometimes it might be, but you just got to do all the homework and actually, do the little deep dive in there, because as somebody who's bought the cheapest, it ain't ever been the best, all right? But that's not even the problem. You got to figure out what you want to do drivetrain, right? Motor trans, what do we want to do? Well, you put all that together, you're going to spend money there. Nobody's going to, unless you're, well, what I usually do, make things work, run with your brung, whatever you want to call it. There's different. That guy is really getting after it, man. Wow. Like I was saying, there's all different ways of doing that. But no, everybody knows that's an expense, and you're going to spend money there, right? Wheels and tires, going to spend money, and guys, they make or break the car. You know that, right? Paint. You can make it work, or you can spend your life saving, because there's really no in between, guys. But you're spending money on paint and body, right? Interior, I mean, we got pretty lucky on this one. Some guys are really good at that stuff. Some guys aren't. Some stuff is just not savable, if you remember what the inside of that guy looked like. So, again, you're spending money there. These are all things you're already thinking of. What do you guys think I'm thinking about that I think everybody else is forgetting? Does that make sense? Insurance. Are you covered? Now, I asked that question as somebody who had insurance but was not covered. I was warned and warned and warned, and I didn't pay attention. My buddy Jason would tell me almost on a daily basis, bro, that truck is cool. You're driving it to work every day. Everybody out on the road is a jackass. It's not a good idea. So, I probably told this story again. I'm going to touch on it because it's that important, guys. So, 65C10, you guys know what's off right now. Joe's got it at his shop and making miracles happen over there because Jason was right. And what sucks about that is Jason is usually right. And we're not always on the same page. Maybe I should listen. Well, if I would have listened, guys, one of two things would have happened. I would have bought a beater and probably not gotten hit that day. Or I would have gotten the classic insurance on it and gotten paid when I got hit that day. Instead, the truck got wrecked. It was, guys, for all intents and purposes, it was totaled. You've seen it, right? Well, when the insurance company decided it was totaled, they said, I think it was like $1,800. Because I had it registered as I did have classic tags because they were cheaper and you didn't have to do an inspection. Historic tags, 50-year historic tags I got on the thing. But I had regular insurance, thinking I was kind of doing the right thing because I was driving it every day. So I said I should have regular insurance on it. Well, USAA didn't care that people think a 65C10 is really cool. They don't look at classic stuff. They look at, here's what the book says it's worth. Nothing. You got nothing. And that's what they offered me. So Now, I was trying to listen to Jason. I was over the weekend before it got hit. I was looking at the two big ones that I know of, Grundy and Haggerty, and I was like, okay, I talked to both of them. Which one do I want to get? You know, now this was 10 years ago, guys, so it wasn't like you just picked up your phone and did something. I mean, you did, but you didn't. You still called people. I don't think you call nobody no more. But either way, one had a better rate. One might have had a couple dollars more coverage. So I'm going back and forth, right? Because I didn't put a ton of miles on the truck, but it was my daily driver. I drove it 20-something miles a day. So that was that weekend. And I said, you know what? I'm going to debate about it over the week. Next weekend, I'm making my decision. Tuesday, I got friggin' hit. Truck, done. If I had made that decision sooner, for either one of those companies, I'd have been in a better boat. Because instead, I got some good old boy redneck towing company that screwed me over at like another $400 or something. Which that was a whole ordeal. I talked about that in another video, but I got is what happened. All right. Well, on top of losing the truck, and then I had paying all this money for this. Like I said, I would have gotten taken care of, and I would have gotten cut in a check. Now I still wouldn't have been pissed off and I wouldn't have the truck anymore, but I would have gone out and bought another one. It's been 10 years. I still love this thing to death. Obviously, I would have went and bought another one. Would I have found a 51,000-mile rust-free California truck in Southern Maryland? Probably not. However, after working on that truck, I realized next time I'm looking for something like that, I'm gonna be like westbound and down. Because it just makes sense, guys. I'm telling you, it does. Take a little vacation, you know? That's another video. So I learned my lesson, all right? By looking at that truck since 2017. Was it 17? 16. Son of a bitch. Yeah. For 9 years of looking at that thing, I've learned a lesson like every day. So when I bought the Le Mans and I was driving that all the time, I hit up Haggerty. I put insurance on it for them. They insured it for way more than it's worth, I think. More than I paid for it for sure. But you send them a couple pictures, they look at the market, and you got to get an agreed upon value, right? And I think on that one was 10 or 12 grand, which is quite a bit more than I paid for it. Now, I searched for that thing for a while, and I was unaware of some of the issues. Now, right now, it's still valued the same thing with the insurance, so it's sitting outside. The interior's upstairs. A window fell out of it the other day. I don't know how this happens, but I'm covered, right? The FXR, same thing. I sent the pictures, and then they do talk to you. So like what I did is I got on the line there, filled out their little thing. They called me. What do you want to do? What are you looking for? And I talked to the guy. What's your mods? What'd you do? You send a picture, and I think that one is 12 grand or something, whatever it was. Again, way more than I paid for it. And but FXRs, there's a niche, all that, and they get all that stuff. So I'm covered there. Now, you might be asking, if you're covered, and I think it's a zero deductible too, why did you not get that taken care of when that dent went there? Well, when Kevin threw it on the ground, I didn't want to do that. One, Kevin's like, my God, I'm going to pay for it. We'll fix it. And I don't doubt it for 1 second. That's not even in question. The thing about it is, if I do that, now I got a hit on the thing, right? So now you got a repair on the title and Carfax and all that crap. I don't want to do that to something that clean. I will have it fixed correctly. That won't even be an issue. Never plan on getting rid of it. Of course, you never do when you first get them. Although I've had that for like 5 years. But either way, that's why I didn't do that. I didn't know which is why I also didn't make an insurance claim on my truck. I just said forget about it, and I walked away. It ended up being the other person's fault, so that we both had USAA. USAA covered them. I said I don't want to make a claim. I still have a clean title, so now it will be fixed. It will be done correctly, and I'll tell you what, guys, I got that on them too. Got that on them. I got them, meaning Haggerty, on that truck too. So I didn't forever. I had to sit in a corner with just storage insurance on it because I didn't want to turn the tags in and pay all that crap again. So I was like, well, I'll just leave it there. It was costing me $10 a month to not drive it. Well, that went up. Insurance rates are out of control anymore, guys. And it went up and up and up. And Megan never even told me it kept going up because she knows that stuff bothers me, and that's why I don't pay attention to it. So when I went to register this guy, I said, you know what? I'm going to run into the same thing. It's a 94, so it actually classifies as classic, right? But the insurance company doesn't care. They can give me $50 if the thing gets hit, you know? So I don't have a lot of money into it. I have time, as you guys have seen. And I have put some money into it. So let's at least make sure we're covered, right? So same thing. I got a little app, filled it out for Haggerty. They called me, said, what have you done to it? I tell them all the suspension stuff that was done and how, send some pictures, interior, this, that, whatever. And they says, what do you think it's worth? And I said, well, these trucks are getting pretty expensive right now. Then I told them 10 grand. They said, yeah. They looked at the pictures. We'll get back to you. Yeah, you're insured. I said, wow, that was pretty easy. Maybe I should have said 12, right? But as I'm talking to the guy, so they run the rest of your insurance stuff. And I think he looked at the pictures that I sent him. The 65 was in the corner for a long time. I got it. And he says, hey, looking at the vehicles you have registered, you don't have, you got your Le Mans with us, you got your FXR with us. Why don't you have your 65 C10 with us? So I told him the story that it's wrecked right now. Yeah, it runs and drives. Well, it didn't then. Maybe I lied a little bit, but it does now, so we're good. No longer alive. I said, yeah, I plan on redoing the truck. It's just kind of sitting there. I only have insurance on it because I don't want to turn a tag in. Which, another thing, guys, hindsight, right? If I had just turned the tag in when it all happened, I would have saved money in the long run. Even getting new tags later on, because that's how much insurance went up over. And I paid insurance on it for 9 years. So that was pretty stupid. Think things through, I told myself a bad story for a long time there. But either way, he says, hey, we'll cover it. I said, dude, it's wrecked. And he was like, yeah, okay, well, send us some pictures. So I did. He calls me again. Well, what do you think it's worth right now sitting there? I said, I don't know, man. It's got a good motor and trans and a drivetrain, all that kind of stuff. Interior's good. I mean, maybe 7, 8 grand. He said, hold on a second. Does his little thing. Yeah, we'll insure it for 8 grand. I said, what? Okay. And it was, guys, it's so cheap. It was like $30 a month. If that, I don't think it was even that much. I'm bad with remember what things cost because I don't want to remember that shit. But it was not very much. I think the policy with all 4 vehicles on it, $100 a month, something like that. That's not much. Because they know you're not putting a ton of miles on these things, like I'm putting on the Tundra and all that. So, yeah, I'm fully covered now, right? And then I started thinking about, so that insurance I had, that storage insurance, was just, I was paying to have it not drivable. I couldn't do anything with it. This, I drove the truck over there legally, right? So that obviously made a big difference. And then on top of that, if, I don't know, the building fell down on top of the truck, it wouldn't have covered nothing. With the Haggerty insurance on it, it would cover it. So think about that stuff. And some people, I know people that do, right? They get a project and they put insurance on it right away. Always one of them people. He went, I think he got Haggerty as well. Figured it all out because he heard my story probably more times than he ever wanted to. But he's also that kind of guy that would just think in advance. Anyways, a lot of people will do that. They'll buy a project. They know it ain't going anywhere. It's in pieces all over the garage, but it's insured. Because, God forbid, something happens to the garage, you get robbed, whatever. You want to be covered, right? I was never that guy. Guys, most of the work I did on this thing, it wasn't even in my name, right? I might have a couple vehicles out here that are not even in my name that I've owned for years because I'm like, I might not hold on to it. So I don't want to spend the money. I'll just, whatever. Now, am I going to stop that practice? Probably not. I'm not going to lie to you, right? But it's a stupid practice because if one of these vehicles that's not in my name just disappears or I'm messing with it and light the thing on fire or something, I'm out. I'm 100% out. So think ahead. Take care of that stuff. I mean, I told you a million times, I probably would have got a check for $25,000 for that truck. Instead, I got a bill. I still got to pay when I pick it up, So be proactive, guys. Make sure you're covered. Even if it's just sitting here in the shop, make sure it's covered. And don't be like me. All the good advice. Do as I say, not as I do. But I did learn my lesson. We're covered now. Make sure you are. Thanks for watching, guys.